to talk about my experience at Grand Canyon University. I'm finishing up my master's in business administration, and I'll be starting my master's of science in leadership in about 4 weeks. And I want to address some questions that I've seen people ask. I've seen, floating around on the internet, and kind of give you a general overview as to someone who has a little bit of a different background than others. So, first off, I do not live in Arizona. I live in Florida. Have no affiliation with the university whatsoever. I found them on the on the internet. I was choosing between them and Western Governors University because I was looking for something that's flexible. At the time, my wife found out that she was pregnant with our first child, and so I was trying to make a wise decision about something, like I said, that created flexibility, that would give me the opportunity to do things at my own pace, which a lot of universities, do not allow, but it's, what most people are looking for. So Grand Canyon stood out because they actually did offer both Masters of Science in Leadership and the MBA. I kind of have it as like a 2-for-1 deal is the way that they advertise it. So, because you do get you get a discount, basically, is the way they break it down. It's the Masters of Science in Leadership is not nearly as long as the MBA. Long story short, so my background's not in business. I graduated from the University of Central Florida with my undergrad in biology. And the plan was to go for physical therapy for, a graduate. But of course, it's a doctorate if you're looking to go into that field. And I just didn't want to dedicate the time. I think the opportunities that opened up when I graduated with my undergrad, I had already decided to jump into, the professional workforce in research and development. And as I spent time there, I was like, man, there's a lot of things about business I just don't know. And as you all know, yes, you can go and read some books. And I did that. I actually started reading some leadership books. I started reading some business books. And honestly, I just wanted more. And when I was doing my undergrad, I didn't take things as seriously as I should have. I mean, I'm not saying I went out and partied all the time, but I also just did not invest as much as I should have. And, that's ultimately my fault. So going back to school was kind of a huge shift. The way the program works with Grand Canyon, I would say it's a little unorthodox, but at the same time structured. So you have 8 straight weeks of a class. There's only one time in the year, which is around Christmas time, which is about the time that you get like a week off from classes, which is very weird. You do have the option to put in between classes. I think there's like a 2-week grace period that you can ask your advisor to give you, which is kind of nice. It's cool. I've never used it, but it's nice knowing that it's there. One question I get asked a lot as well, so they're affiliated as a Christian university is the way that they advertise themselves. And honestly, in the graduate program, if you're concerned about something like that, or if you're concerned, do they get preachy or anything like that, I've honestly only had 2 classes that that really brought up certain aspects of that. I wasn't opposed to that when looking for the school. But like I said, some people, get concerned of, well, how are they going to treat me? Now, I will say this. I've heard complaints about the undergrad programs in a lot of the required classes that you're supposed to take, that they have some that they do get pretty deep, and if you do not have that background, if you're not into that, it can be really challenging. But I think overall with the graduate program, I think they are very understanding, much more mature is basically the way I would phrase it. I never felt like I've ever been attacked in discussions. I've never felt like, and now there have been times that I've probably been a lot harsher on some people, just because you kind of want to play devil's advocate sometimes in a graduate program, because you have a lot of professionals, but then you also have some people that have never worked up to a certain level in the business world. So that's just my perspective on how it's gone. Hardest classes, I would probably say not having an accounting background definitely took a little extra work, but I never felt like it was above me. I mean, thank goodness for the internet. The internet helps so much. If you have any questions, you can always find them on the internet, and that's really helpful too. There's some timed exams that were kind of rough. The group projects are actually probably my least favorite part of the whole program. And I understand why our education system believes that group projects are important. I mean, they want to create a structured environment where, in the workforce, you're going to deal with group projects, right? I mean, that's how it works. But here's the thing that kills me about, group projects is that 9 times out of 10, it's always like the guy who's leading, or guy or girl, maybe there's like 2 people in the group out of 4 that actually like pull the weight. And yes, that is sometimes how it is in the real world. They don't really give an opportunity to actually really penalize, the people that don't do the work. So that part was a little frustrating. Like I would message professors and be like, hey, so and so isn't really, doing their job. I don't really want to tattletale on them, but at the same time, what are some tips to kind of guide them to write better? I mean, like some of these people, they write like they're still in high school or something, right? And I know writing's not everyone's strong suit, right? Like, and that's what editing and everything else is for. But I would say overall the experience, I would say, has been really nice. Like, it's just the convenience of it. I mean, in less than a year and a half, I've already finished my MBA. Now, my situation's not the same as everyone else. There's sometimes you got to take breaks. I did not take a break, when my daughter was born. The day that my daughter was being born was the last day my group had to turn in a paper. So, I'm sending my last submission to them, and I'm like, we're in the delivery room. It's getting real, guys. So I think that's, like I said, my perspective is different than everyone else's, and I hope that maybe this will give insight into how the program kind of works. I would highly recommend you make sure that you get an advisor who knows what they're talking about. I'm in my last class now, which actually has prerequisites, and three of the members in my group have not taken the prerequisites. Their advisors have led them down the wrong path. These people are lost. I've already told my advisor how jacked up it is and how uncool it is. That here I am trying to, and I feel bad for them, because here's the thing, the next classes they have, they're going to be so confused on, because they've talked about this stuff building up to it. But other than that, I would say I'm really happy with how the program's gone. I think it's given me a lot to get excited about with starting my own businesses. I've got a lot of things coming up that I hope that maybe you guys can join me along with. Join along with me on this adventure. I want to know how, if you guys are interested in Grand Canyon, what your thoughts are. If you have questions, I'd be happy to try to, address them. One of the things that I really was concerned about was the money, okay? When I did my undergrad, I worked through and paid my way through. I owned my own janitorial business, cleaning, and I made good money. And that's, once again, I was distracted back then. When it came to starting up the graduate program, I did not have the money for this. Nowhere close. My current employer at the time wasn't going to offer to help try to reimburse anything. So I just bit the bullet and decided, well, this is what I need to do to try to make this work. So for me, the loans and stuff like that, I mean, they do have advisors that will kind of take you through the process, which is nice. It is, I wouldn't say it's as expensive as going to Alabama or, Vanderbilt or even Cornell or something like that, as far as how much the programs cost. But it's still a chunk of change. I mean, these are trying times. 2020 has already been, it feels like a century. But it's definitely helped, push me in the right direction, I feel like. Do I feel like I'm an expert? No. I'm still learning new stuff every day, and I think that's the perspective you kind of have to take. Do you need an MBA to succeed? No, you don't. Did I need it? Yeah. Because I'm one of those people that's not always disciplined enough to continue to push myself. And I know there's some people out there that are like, well, I know enough to get by. Well, that's great for you. I'd like to own several businesses, and that's what I'm working towards. And I have owned businesses, and I've sold businesses, and just trying to work my way up the ladder to being the best that I can be. And I always take, one way or another, I always end up having to take 2 steps back, and that hurts sometimes. So I'm trying to learn how to prevent stuff like that from happening. Anyways, guys, like I said, if you have questions, thoughts, concerns about Grand Canyon, I'd love to try to, create a community where we can kind of talk about some of this stuff. I have thought about doing in-depth videos, kind of summarizing how some of the classes go, just to kind of provide insight. One of the things I learned very quickly is that you do have the ability to talk to your student counselors about upcoming classes. They can get you basically an outline of how the class is going to review over certain information. It's not the syllabus. You can find the syllabus online, trust me. There's sources all over. But if you're like me, who learned from my mistakes in my undergrad, I didn't plan out in my undergrad for the next classes. I would sign up, the last person to sign up for classes. I was bad. And so if you are going in with the mindset of being prepared, you will not be shell-shocked. I mean, you even have the ability after, there's a trick where after you complete the survey, your last week of each class, you actually have the ability to view that next class. You can look through, the assignments basically. There's a limitation where you're not allowed to comment on certain things. But this, if you in your last week can make notes or whatnot, or get a general mindset as to how to do the class, I think it's saved me so much, and given me such a peace of mind about what I need to prepare for, like looking at the weeks ahead. Like, oh, here's a holiday here, I can definitely make sure that I do this work here. It just helps. And like I said, sadly, it's taken me this long to learn stuff like that. And so hopefully I can provide you with insight into how to try to tackle some of this. And I do wish you the best if this is the journey that you take. I know I've met a lot of people that struggle through this program. I currently have a 4.0. I currently have connections with 2 of the scholarship fraternities, which is a pretty big deal for the master's program. There's not too many people that are able to do that. Anyways, yeah, please, click like and subscribe if you like this content. Please comment below if you have other ideas for content you'd like to see about Grand Canyon or anything else. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.